You.
Hi, everyone.
Hello.
Hi.
Hey, Chanel. I'm going to change my name.
How do you change it?
The three little dots on your profile, just click that and it's at the bottom.
Oh.
Hey, Jay. For those of you who are getting on now, Chanel has shared with me how awkward it is when you're talking to a blank screen, and I completely agree. So, let's put some cameras on people. Hey, David.
Hey, sorry, I'm in.
Hey, Jay. How's it going?
Good, how are you? Nice to see you
Great,
again.
thank you. I know it's been a while,
It has been a while.
huh?
I'm just gonna walk into the house, okay? I just parked my car.
Yeah, go. Hey, Barusha. Nice to see you.
I've got my glasses on, so I look like a little nerd. But it is what it is.
I saw you got a netball post, or you were practicing with a netball post on your story or something.
Yes, first weekend practicing with the Chicago Netball Club. That was really
Oh,
awesome.
fun. Awesome.
So, it was good.
Are they not far from you?
Yeah, it's about a train ride away, so not that bad. And
Okay.
also,
Uh,
I really enjoy Chicago.
Okay. We'll give people a little bit, like a few more minutes, and then we'll get started. No problem, Effie and stuff. Thank you for at least acknowledging. Appreciate that. Has everybody who's on this call sent me a headshot, by the way? Yep, I've seen yours, Shamil. Taylor, got yours.
Sorry, I forgot to grab mine. I can send you a headshot, but I doubt it will get the specifications that you requested. I completely forgot about that. I'm sorry.
It's okay. Yeah, just get it to me best you can. I can try and wipe out the background and stuff a bit. As long as
Okay.
it's, face, shoulders, I can work with it.
Okay.
Jennifer, I saw yours, and I have to say your curls are super pretty, by the way, in your photo.
Thank you.
Okay. Chanel, do you want to start sharing your screen? And then we
Yeah.
can, I'll keep admitting people and you can, we'll get started.
Okay.
फर्स्ट टाइम हमें अपॉर्चुनिटी मिला ना तो हम बोला हम कर हम लोग के कनाडा का टीम
Let's go ahead and mute that. Okay. All right, so we'll get started. Welcome everyone. Thank you for being here. I know it's kind of late on the East Coast, but it's even later for Chanel since she is all the way in Italy. So thank you, Chanel, for staying up and being here with us. As most of you know, she is the new vice president of coaches, but she's a lot more than that. So she's got a little bio. She's going to introduce herself because there is so much there. I will get it wrong if I do it. So over to you, Chanel.
Thanks. So thank you for the intro. This is just everything we're kind of going over today, just the Netball America kind of blurb of what we're doing today. So as you said, most people know me inside netball. So this is just like a quick bio of basically what I do for a job outside or what I have done. So I graduated Florida Southern with a Bachelor of Science in Human Movement and Performance. I was a strength and conditioning coach at Miami University in Ohio, working with all sports at the university. Then I moved to North Carolina, where I was a strength and conditioning coach working with the Olympic sports. So that's everything except for football. From there, I moved to Texas and briefly worked with the Michael Johnson Performance, and then moved one more time when I got into school and worked for 5 years for Elite Performance Training, where I worked and basically built my own coaching brand, working with athletes all the way up from elementary all the way to professional. And then whilst I was doing that, I graduated from Park University as a doctor of chiropractic. So I'm a licensed chiropractor in Texas, and then also have my master's of science in functional nutrition. So just kind of, this is everything I do outside of netball. So super passionate about everything performance, which is why I want to share that with everyone today. So just a few overview of everything we're going to go over today. The physical demands of netball, common injuries we see, injury prevention and recovery, strength and conditioning, kind of everything that goes into that, the being mentally prepared, nutrition and hydration, and then a few position-specific skills per position on the netball court, and then we'll go over any questions everybody has. So as most people know, few of the physical demands for netball: stability and balance, agility and speed, endurance, strength and power, reaction time, hand-eye coordination, tactical awareness, and position-specific skills. Obviously, things vary depending on the position you play, but in general, every player has to have these things. So common injuries we see in netball: ankle sprains, knee injuries, finger injuries, shoulder injuries, overuse injuries. A few things that we can do just in general to make sure that we can try and prevent these things: have a good warm up and cool down. I'll be sending with the packet tomorrow my warm up. Warm up should be dynamic, cool down should be a little bit more static. Using proper technique, with proper technique, we create efficiency. And so you never want to sacrifice technique, because if you become inefficient, even doing one small thing over time, that's where we see injuries occur. A good strength and conditioning program, making sure we're flexible, mobile, and then also making sure we have good footwear. Obviously, this varies for everybody, but as netball players, we tend to run and work on hard surfaces. So footwear is super, super important. Injury prevention exercises, which we'll go over a bunch and just talk about in general, and then rest and recovery, nutrition and hydration. So this is the joint by joint theory. This is something that I think is so important just for everybody in general to know, whether you're playing netball or doing anything in life, really. So I always look at things from the ground up. Obviously, every time our foot touches the ground when we're walking, running, there's a chain reaction. So as you can see, the toes should be mobile, the feet should be stable, the ankles should be mobile, knees should be stable, hips mobile, low back stable, upper back should be mobile, shoulder blades stable, shoulders mobile, low and middle neck should be stable, and then upper neck should be mobile. So whenever you're working on things, these are how you want to train them. So for instance, if your ankles are immobile, the next thing up the chain is the knee. So if you have immobile ankles, you may end up with sore knees. You may end up with a knee injury. Maybe it won't happen immediately, but maybe down the line. And so this is the way you want to see it. So if you for instance, have immobile ankles and hips, the thing right in the middle is the knee. So if we can address the mobility of the ankles and the mobility of the hips, might be end up protecting your knees. So this is how everything in our body is a chain. So this is how you want to address the chain in order to try and prevent injuries or prolong an injury from happening. So there are videos here, so just letting it load. So again, addressing from the ankle up, these are just a few different ways that you can address ankle mobility and also stability. These are things that I have done with my athletes. Whenever I train, because in sports and netball, you always use your whole body, I like to do exercises that train more than maybe just the one specific body area. So I'll briefly just play the clip. So this one, ankle mobility and strength, just as easy as having a band around the ankle, pressing, controlling it back. This one, I call these toe curls. This is something you could do at home, put a towel on the ground and just grab it with your toes. This addresses the mobility in the toes and also strengthens the ankle. Again, I like to create a lot of instability so that your body has to learn how to be stable. So she's on a balance pad, adds a little bit of elevation. She's just controlling, so she has to balance on there, but it's also working the ankles, again, working stability. A lot of people know about Bosu balls, just single leg balance, again, creating stability within the ankles, but not just within the ankles. Obviously, it's testing the balance, working everything up the chain. So again, really working on knee stability as well. And then this one, just another way of working balance. I like to create movement in sports. Obviously, we're constantly moving, so your body is never just static. So with this, it creates a little bit of instability and then also replicates movement. So again, stability in the ankle, balance, and then everything up the chain is creating a little bit of stability. Knees, obviously there's a bunch of different exercises that we can do for all these things. These are just a few that I wanted to highlight and you will probably see in our workout packet. But I also just want to emphasize that there's a lot of different ways without just having to work the ankle, just having to work the knee, just having to work the hips to train these things in a more realistic way for an athlete. So for the knee, again, he's got a slide under the foot that's moving, replicating a rotational movement. Your knee will see this, whether you're jumping, changing direction, anything. So the goal for any knee exercise that we're doing to create stability is to not let this knee move inside your big toe line. So you want to keep it on the outside. Again, we have this exercise, he's on a stability pad. The heel is off to create a little bit more instability. This is, again, addressing more than just his knee, but if the ankle is unstable, the knee will continue to move. So we work from the floor up, we work the ankle, the knee, creating that movement as you see with the rotation of the upper body. In netball, how often are we throwing the ball, rotating our upper body? With an exercise like this, it allows us to have the upper body rotation whilst also stabilizing our lower body. So a really good exercise. This one I call the sway drill. If you see, one sec. He is creating this angle. This is our change of direction angle. I'm a huge believer that you want to put your body in the positions it will see in your sport. I say all the time, and I believe from everything I've seen and learned, that your body doesn't necessarily get injured getting into a position. It's the body's ability to get in and back out. So for instance, if the knee, when we're playing netball, moves a certain way, a lot of the times it's not when it gets into a certain uncomfortable position, it's the ability to get in and then get out is where a lot of people struggle. So you want your body to see these movement patterns. That way, when we play, it's not shocked. Your joints aren't shocked when they see it in the game. So sway drill, something
Yeah, get this, Dad.
Again, another one, creating instability They really have to swing the kettlebell or any weight, try and create a little bit of instability and stay stable in the knees and from the ground up. This one, again, instability in a running position, trying to create stability in that knee, making sure that knee doesn't dive in. And then going with the you want your body to see, this is a falling drill where it's allowing the knee and the joint in a controlled setting to feel the impact of the ground. So you want your body to see the same kind of impact, the same kind of movements that you will see in a game in a controlled setting. And then you have to push it. So you want to commit to the fall, you want to commit to the swing, to commit to the movement, so that when it sees your joints see this in a game, it's not shocked and it stays injury free. So moving on, we have thoracic mobility. So that is your mid back. Obviously in netball, rotation is huge. So we want to make sure we are super mobile. Just a few things. This first one, simple kind of rainbow pattern. This also works. Shoulder mobility. I will share all these links too. So these are just a few things I want to show everyone and kind of talk about, but I'll share all these links so everybody will have these exercises as well. Again, working the shoulder, the band creates a little bit of instability in the shoulder, which will create a strength in the shoulder joint, as well as getting this rotational movement to enhance the thoracic mobility. This one, a little bit more of an advanced one, but it's full body, which is why I love it, especially for a netball player, because it works balanced. So you have the rotation, you come up, and then rotation. You have to be able to stabilize and rotate at the same time. So again, a full body movement. And the more control we have with our whole body, the better we are at netball. Netball is obviously a very extremely disciplined sport when it comes to our movement. So something like this will help with that. Again, another variation of a thoracic mobility, sitting back, allowing the spine to sink in, and then working the shoulders back. And then last one, PVC rotation. You just want to bring the PVC pipe down to the ground, keeping those hips still, enhancing that thoracic mobility. So next one, hips. There are so many different ways of doing hips. Hips tend to be extremely tight for athletes. So these are things that we could do even at home. So first one, 90-90 hip mobility. You want to make sure that your feet and knees stay at a 90-degree angle and your feet stay on the ground, just rotating over. With this one, I always tell my athletes, do not put your hands on the ground unless you absolutely have to. That way your hips are the ones actually having to do the work. Any kind of duck under, so ducking under a bar, really making, having to sit into the hips to create the movement. Same thing here, stepping over a bar or under a bar and then over a bar. Again, making your hips have to see that movement. Anytime we do mobility, it tends to be uncomfortable. And if it's uncomfortable, that means we probably are very tight. So unless it's pain, you want to kind of push that movement just to get a little bit more out of those joints. Spider-Man mobility, this one, super enjoyable, can do at home. Really helps the hips and it feels nice. And then the last one is called the couch stretch. I put this one in here because you can literally do it with your couch. That's why it's called that. Just propping that foot up, and this will be really, really good in stretching that hip flexor. So last two that I'm going to address with the videos. Again, there are a lot of different ways to create stability and mobility. These are just a few things, especially as netball players, we get so many shoulder injuries. Easy things you can do at the gym, easy things you can do at home. So internal, external rotation, making sure elbows are on all the way up, all the way down. Again, you want your shoulders to see the movement that it will see in the game or just in general. All angels. This is my husband. He was struggling big time. Again, an easy exercise you can do at home. You want to keep your spine to the wall, elbows to the wall, hands to the wall. A good one with that too is you can see, if you have someone film or even just looking, you can see if there is a difference from one side to the other, and that's something you can address. Simple band exercises, creating stability. This one addressing core movement and also shoulder stability and strength. Really, really good for netball players. We often have our arms out, we often have our arms up. So again, really, really good way of working core strength and also working shoulders. So for this one, the goal is to be between, it could be a door frame, between the rack. The closer you are, the better shoulder mobility you have. Just as simple as having PVC pipe, any kind of stick, it could be a broomstick at home, walking into the door frame and really trying to get under, just shows the mobility in the shoulders. And then last one, this one a little bit different, but again, you want to create movement you will see in a game. So a leg swing and just stabilizing that shoulder. A lot of the time, when people get hurt with their shoulders, it's during movement. So if you can be able to stabilize your shoulder during movement, i.e. the leg swing, simulating that, you're more than likely going to create strength in a game-like situation or a sport-like situation. And then last one, fingers count with this one too. Obviously, when a ball hits our fingers, there's not a lot that we can do. We can try and strengthen our grip, and wrist stuff will also help with that. So find a friend and get them to hold a PVC pipe and you just want to rotate it. Really, really good way of working on grip strength and also wrist strength. This one, again, working hip mobility, but also having to stabilize a stick with the band fully extended, stabilizing the wrist, working on core and hip mobility. Any type of hanging exercise, you'll be working grip strength, which will help with any kind of finger strength, but also your wrist strength. Again, another exercise, working the core as well as helping our wrist. Same here. A lot of the times I love having exercises that will have multiple purposes. As an athlete, this is huge. So again, a sit up where you're having to stabilize, also working the shoulder and the wrist, really, really good for strengthening both and stabilizing both. Same thing here, working the core, also having to hold the band, stabilizing the wrist. And then last one, an instability. So just the leg lift, creating even more instability, the band creating instability, and the wrist should stay locked out. Really, really good way of strengthening the wrists, the shoulders, and the whole chain down to the ground. So these are just a few of my favorites that I have done with so many athletes, and they're fun, but they also have multi-purpose, which is, for me, more important as an athlete. You don't have to just address one area, you can address multiple and still achieve the same result. So going on to recovery, obviously, is huge for injury prevention. So one thing that a lot of us aren't great at is getting rest and sleep. Everybody's different, but we want to aim for 7 to 9 hours of quality sleep. This is huge for muscle repair and just overall recovery. Active recovery, so even on days off, if we've had a long tournament or you've had games, hard training, you want to make sure that the next day you're still up and moving, like walking, swimming, things like that. This will just help flush the system and create movement, get the blood flowing, and try and get rid of any lactic acid that's left. Stretching and mobility, obviously huge. A few things that are really good: foam rolling, massage. I also am sending out a mobility circuit video, a band stretch video, and then a foam rolling circuit video. So that will be sent out to everyone as well. Really, really important for recovery. Hydration and nutrition, which we will go over. Cold and heat therapy. Obviously, the contrast, really, really good for flushing the system, reducing any inflammation in the system. I know that that cryo and the cold tubs are huge now. So obviously the science backs that. Mindfulness and relaxation, mentally you have to recover as well. Give your mind a little bit of a break, because if your mind is calm, your body will be. Supplements, obviously this is individual. A few things you might want to do: omega fatty acids and antioxidants, just to, again, reduce any inflammation within the body, help us heal a little bit quicker. Mental recovery, that goes with the mindfulness. Engaging in activities that are fun outside of netball helps recovery. And then listening to your body. I think this is huge. People can tell you a lot of different things, but you know yourself better than anyone. So it's really, really important just to listen to your body, what it's telling you. If you know it better than anyone else. So if you need extra break, give yourself extra break, things like that. So these are just the videos that I'll be sending out, just so you're familiar with what they're going to look like. A mobility circuit, it's a full body mobility circuit, about 5 minutes long. Foam rolling circuit. I would recommend everyone get a foam roller. It's really, really good. It's something you can do at home and really, really easy. And then a band stretch circuit. You can use a towel. It doesn't have to be a band. But again, just another stretch circuit. The band allows for a little bit more leverage to be able to create that stretch. So going into strength and conditioning, just a breakdown of what a performance workout should look like. So you want to have your power exercises, your strength exercises, then any accessory exercises, and a few things you should consider. So we're sending out workout packets, but if you in general have your own workouts, these are things that if you're training for performance, you should consider. So the direction of the exercises that you're doing. So you always want to address forward, so linear. You want to do lateral movement and then add some rotation. So forward being forward lunge, squats, deadlifts, that is a linear exercise. Lateral, things like lateral squats, lateral lunges, lateral mini band walks. Rotation, any kind of multi-direction exercise. So maybe be a 3-way lunge, something like that. Also, there's a lot of exercises with a twist. Whether you're doing, you always want to do bilateral, so a squat, so both feet are on the ground. And then you also want to do single leg. So often in netball, we are on one leg, or you land one leg, or your takeoff for a jump is on one leg. So you it's really important to do single leg. Dumbbell versus barbell. So dumbbell allows you to work from a little bit lighter, but it also creates a little bit of instability, which helps us strengthen and create stability, so that when we get to the barbell, we can push heavier weight, but in a stable way. So it's really, really good to start with dumbbells and then work to barbells and then add back in dumbbells when we can push the weight a little bit more that way. And then rep ranges, we'll go over rep ranges. But again, each rep range has a different goal, which we'll go over. So just the rep ranges, things that we should consider. So the low rep ranges, so 1 to 5, works max strength or power. This allows us to get maximal effort in a short period of time. So as it says here, max force of a muscle group or group of muscles to produce in a single effort. This is really, really important, obviously, for netball. These are our jumps. These are our quick sprints. This is the rep range that will achieve that for athletes. The 6 to 12, so the middle kind of rep range, this is muscle growth. Again, this is where we create the metabolic stress to grow muscles, so the mini tears in the muscles, so it has to repair. And then high reps, so 15 plus, this is the muscular endurance. This allows our body to see that repetitive pattern over and over and be able to create that endurance as we're doing it. For athletes, we tend to do all of them. So don't be afraid to try different things when it comes to these rep ranges. So for power exercises, you want to keep the reps low. For muscle growth, you want to keep it 6 to 12. And then for endurance, 15 plus. As we see here, varied rep ranges, so it's called periodization. This is more where our training for athletes will be. So you'll see different rep ranges because you want to cycle through all of them to get to your end goal. So if you have a competition coming up, you will go through different phases with different rep ranges. Again, allows us to target multiple goals, including strength, muscle growth, and endurance. And for an athlete, obviously, we never want to plateau. So working through the different rep ranges allows for our body to be continuously challenged and then reach the goal that we're looking for, whether that be a competition, a personal goal, anything like that. So conditioning, so all that stuff was more on the strength side. We work two different systems in netball. So the aerobic system, so this is our sustained lower intensity activities. Obviously, a full netball game is an hour. A tournament is multiple hours, so you have to be able to last over a long period of time. This is our aerobic system. This will be the jogging, the moderate pace movement, and the recovery efforts. But it allows us to maintain the ability to keep going over a long period of time. This system uses carbohydrates and fats. So this is why it's so important to, before game day, before tournaments, eat those things, because it helps us have the energy throughout a longer period of time. So exercises that are going to work the aerobic system, running, cycling, swimming, rowing, elliptical, for longer duration. Obviously, we're going longer duration, the intensity is not going to be as high. And then the second system that we want to make sure we are working is the anaerobic system. So the aerobic system works with oxygen. The anaerobic doesn't. So that's that quick sprint. This is our high intensity, short duration effort. So whether that be quick sprints, sudden change of direction, and explosive actions like jumping. This one's divided into two. So you have the phosphagen system. So that's our literally under 15 seconds, that quick burst. Quick sprint, quick jump, and then the glycolytic, which it's written here. You don't need to know those names. You just need to know that these are things we have to address. These are the 30 seconds. So that's a longer sprint, the longer effort in a netball game. Both very, very important. So whenever we're training, we want to address both of these as well. So these will be our HIIT training workouts, our shuttle sprints, our hill sprints, 400-meter repeats. So these are things that will address those quick sprints, but you might do multiple of them, so it will address both systems. Does anybody have any questions so far? I'll ask questions at the end too, but just in case, because I know it's a lot.
Now,
Yeah.
hello, it's Effie. What's a 400-meter repeat?
So that's where you'll run 400 meters, and then you'll take a quick break, and then you'll do it again.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Cool, thanks.
So obviously the mental side is super important, not just the physical side. This is something that as a netball player myself, I haven't always been great at. But as I've gotten older, I've gotten better at it, I guess. But visualization, I know this sounds super weird, but when I was younger, I had a coach that used to tell me to take mental reps, like visualize literally you throwing that ball to someone's hands. Literally visualize when you shoot the ball going in the net. Visualize the interception, your hand bringing down the ball, whatever it is. And at first I didn't believe it. I was like, yeah, okay. But then I started doing it, and I really did see a huge, huge difference because it allows you to do reps, so many reps, before you ever physically have to do a rep. So I know it sounds silly, but if you do the mental reps, it really does help. Allows us to train without having to physically train. And then when you do physically train, it only enhances that. Positive self-talk, obviously everybody is motivated in different ways, but if you are telling yourself to keep going and do good things, I think good things will happen. And then setting goals. Whenever you set goals, you want to set SMART goals. So this stands for specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and timely. So whenever you're setting your goals, you don't want to set a goal like long term. So in a year, I want to do this. In 2 years, I want to do this. You want to set short-term goals so that it gets to the long-term goal. And whether this be for a training session, a game, for yourself or for your team, it's really, really important just to set goals. And then you can also see the wins and see the improvement as you go. Having a pre-game routine, this could be anything. This is personal, but repeating it over and over, so mentally you're prepared for what you're going into. So for me, something as simple as left sock, left shoe, right shoe. If I don't do it that way, mentally, I don't feel as ready. Something feels off. So creating that routine so that your body knows, okay, this is what I'm about to do. Okay, I'm about to go into a game, I'm ready. Breathing techniques, again, this could be within a game. Obviously in a game, you don't have a lot of time. But if there's a play or a mistake happens and you can quickly calm your breathing, this will just calm your mind, calm your body down. Or whether you get nervous before a game, get anxious, breathing techniques are huge. There's a lot of YouTube videos about it. But it just allows you to calm yourself and kind of get rid of any anxiousness that you're feeling. Sorry. So mindfulness and staying present. Try and avoid dwelling on any past mistakes or worrying about future outcomes, and focusing on the current play. So one really quick and easy way of doing this, obviously in a game, again, you don't have a lot of time, but even just to quickly stay present, think about, okay, what do I hear? What do I feel under my feet? What does this feel like when you're holding the ball? Okay, what does that feel like? Whatever it is to quickly like bring you back into that moment. Netball is such a fast game that we don't have time to dwell. And if you do dwell on something that has happened or you're worried about the next play as opposed to the play you're in, you're probably not going to do as well in that moment. So it's just every 3 seconds has to be a new 3 seconds, basically. And Coach Paula, this was actually one of her quotes, but focus on the process. So instead of focusing on external pressures or outcomes, concentrating on executing each play to the best of your ability. So again, it goes back with staying present. If you approach every single play that you do or moment that you're involved in to the best of your ability, the long-term outcome will be a good one, whether that be a good performance for you, a huge contribution to the team, whatever that is. Obviously, focusing on the process instead of the long-term outcome will help do that. Develop resilience. This is, again, something that as an athlete, we all have to be able to be a little bit resilient. You have to accept that mistakes are going to happen, whether that be you or your teammates, it will happen. It's a huge part of the game. It has to be a learning process for everyone. But also for me, resilience isn't just like accepting mistakes. It's also maybe if you're not getting as much playing time as you'd like, or a coach doesn't like you so much, or whatever it is. As an athlete, we all face these things, but just knowing and being confident and true to who you are as a player, super important. Obviously we all have a love for the game, so just developing that resilience. And then team unity and communication. Obviously your team has got your back, so just knowing that and feeling secure in that, and then seeking guidance, whether that be a coach, a mentor, even professional guidance if you need it. Really important. The mental aspect of being an athlete is just as important as the physical. So moving on to nutrition. Everybody's nutrition needs are slightly different. These are just a few things to consider. Before a game, consuming a balanced meal 2 to 3 hours before a game or training session, including carbs, lean protein, and healthy fats. As we saw earlier, carbs and fats are huge for creating energy for the aerobic system, and then our protein will be really important in muscle recovery. So super important to get that in before a game. Post-game recovery, consuming a mix of carbohydrates and protein within 30 to 60 minutes after to help with recovery. Obviously, it's a little bit hard sometimes to get in food 30 minutes after, but as soon as possible, you really want to replenish those sources, especially in a tournament. You want to make sure you're snacking, just to give you the energy to go throughout the whole tournament. Again, carbs, primary fuel source for energy during training and games or tournaments. Protein, muscle repair and growth. Healthy fats provide the sustained energy, and then vitamin and minerals. Our body needs all of that, so it's super important to get those too. This would be fruits and veggies. And then timing. So again, before a game, 2 to 3 hours. After a game or a tournament, 30 to 60 minutes. And then spacing out the meals and snacks throughout the day to make sure that you have that steady energy source. And then, as I mentioned, everybody's nutritional needs are different. So this goes back to listening to your body. But these are just a few things to consider, and you can start there and then you just listen to your body. Hydration, staying hydrated is obviously very, very important. On a game day, you want to begin early. So the day before, early in the day, and you want to make sure you're drinking water regularly, and also maybe electrolyte drink, just especially if we have longer durations, such as a tournament. So for timing of this pre-game, about 16 to 20 ounces of water 2 to 3 hours before. This is just even a water bottle. That's not a lot. Obviously, more than that would be great, but minimum, that's what you want to be doing during the exercise. So 7 to 10 ounces every 10 to 20 minutes. So this is in a full game every quarter. For tournaments, this is after every single game. And then after exercise, you want to make sure that you're rehydrating by drinking fluids over the next several hours, water, electrolyte drinks, just to replenish everything you've lost. And then for each pound you lose, you want to aim to drink again about 16 to 20 ounces of fluids to rehydrate. So just an easy way to kind of measure. If you jumped on a scale before and after, you'd see how much water weight you lost. And this is a really good way of just knowing how much to rehydrate. And then these charts are a lot of places. So if you've walked into different bathrooms, you may have seen these on the walls, whether that be in a sports arena, a college setting. You want to monitor your urine color. This is a really good way of an indicator of how hydrated you are. So if we're at number 1, you're well hydrated. If you're near number 5, you're severely dehydrated. I don't know if anyone's ever looked at their pee during a tournament, but you tend to, the more you play, the more you tend to become dehydrated. So this is just a really easy way to monitor your hydration level. So these are just a few position-specific skills. Obviously, it's really, really important for everyone to have an understanding of different positions and different skills. And each position has so many roles. These are just a few of the important ones that I wanted to highlight, just so we kind of have an idea of that. Each position does require a unique set of skills. That's why we all tend to have 1 to 3 positions. But a well-rounded player who understands the game from all positions are very valuable. And it is really, really good to have an understanding of each position so that you can be a good teammate as well and understand what each person is kind of going through, I guess. So for a goal shooter, shooting accuracy is super important. Positioning, so knowing the spaces in the shooting circle. Timing, understanding when to move and when to position yourself to receive a pass. And then physicality. We all know that the goal shooters get beat up in the circle. It is a tough position. So physicality, being able to hold the position, super important. And then being able to create that separation from the defender. Goal attack, again, shooting accuracy, very important for both shooters. Goal attack versatility, being able to shoot, but also having a really good passing game as well. Vision, having great awareness of the court and see passing opportunities, but also a goal attack has to create a lot of movement, has to work with the shooter. So vision is really important for this position. Quick decision making. Again, we don't have a lot of time. Goal attack has to make a decision whether to shoot or pass. So very important for this position. So this is mid-court. Wing attack, again, passing accuracy. A wing attack, a center, it's all about a passing game. And it's really important for a wing attack to have good passing accuracy so we can create shooting opportunities. Vision and court awareness, so being able to exploit spaces on the court. Wing attack has to be super disciplined. So this is very important. Also timing, so knowing when to run into the midcourt to help bring the ball down, but also knowing when to feed into the circle. And then speed and agility. A wing attack has to be really, really quick in a short space. So creating those passing lanes and being able to get rid of the defender. Center, fitness and endurance. Centers cover a lot of the court, so this is really important. Passing accuracy, again, it's a passing position, so important to be able to accurately pass the ball down the court. Court vision, so seeing passing options and then also being able to control the pace of the game. And then defensive skills, center obviously works both sides, so not only do they need to be able to pass, but they have to be able to defend and disrupt the opposition. And then wing defense, huge defensive position. So having defensive skills, wing defense often intercepts balls, and then they have to closely mark their player and then again disrupt the play. Speed and agility, quick movement to try and create turnovers, and then transition play, being able to go from the defense to the attack really, really quick. And then the last two are the defensive positions. So goal defense, defensive skills, obviously key for this position, close marking, blocking passing lanes, and intercepting passing. Rebounding, so this is our power that we were talking about earlier, making sure they can get up and get those rebounds. Communication, working not only with the players in front of them, but working in the circle with the goalkeeper. Then goalkeeper, defensive skills, obviously they're working in a really small space, so close marking, denying shooting opportunities and contesting shots. Rebounding, again, super, super important. Timing and positioning, so knowing when to contest shots and then knowing when to hold the position. Very, very important for play so that we're not giving up penalties. And then physicality, again, along with the goal shooter, they are in there tussling, so really, really important to be able to be strong, to hold their position against the shooter, and then using their body to deny the shooter the ball. Just a few key position-specific skills that are needed for netball. There are so many different things that go into each position, so it's really important just to have a quick understanding of what each position does and their role that they play. Just helps overall performance. And then, does anybody have any questions?
Not a question, but an input. You left off ability to read the play and pick perfection timing, especially when it comes to the defensive set, including the centers. It's so important. You must be able to read play and your timing has to be on point.
Right. He is correct. Thank you. Does anybody else have any questions?
So Chanel,
Hi. Hi.
oh, sorry, go
Hi.
first, whoever said that.
Hi. Can I see the slide with the center position again, please?
Sorry, could you repeat that? I think my volume is low. Let me see if I can get it up. Oh.
The slide with the center position. Can I see it again, please?
Oh, yeah. I will also send out this PowerPoint and all the links to all the videos, because I don't know that the videos will link when I send it out, but I'll send out the link separately as well. So all this information I'll also send out.
Yeah, Chanel, I have a question. This is Brian from Chicago.
Okay.
Do you have any like exercises that you would recommend against us doing? Like one that comes to mind is deadlifts. I've heard that for sport, deadlifts are like the risk to reward ratio is skewed towards risk. So I've had some tennis coaches tell me to not do deadlifts. Just want to know if there's any other exercises like that that you would recommend against.
I wouldn't even recommend against deadlifts. I think if you're using a trap bar, it's super safe. I think everything goes back to knowing your having good technique. So if you have been taught and you know how to, I think that deadlifts can be a little bit more dangerous with a barbell if people don't use correct technique or haven't been taught that. So a trap bar is a really good way of being able to eradicate kind of having to have really good technique with a bar. But again, it goes down to knowing your body. I personally am a fan. It's a core exercise that I would use with my athletes, but I don't know that there would be, I think the biggest recommendation that I would say is so for instance, like Olympic lifting, if you have never been taught how to correctly Olympic lift, I wouldn't recommend going and trying to do a hang clean. If you have been taught correctly how to do those things, and you know how to do them with the correct technique and in a safe manner, those things I would recommend. But if you do not know, I wouldn't recommend going and trying Olympic lifts and things like that if you haven't been taught, just because it is such a complex exercise and it is a power exercise. So there is a little bit more risk to doing those things. But there's nothing I would really say don't do if you have been taught the correct way of doing it. But yeah, I think
Cool.
I'd have to think on that.
Yeah,
That's a good question.
Great. I actually still do deadlifts, but I've just heard that from coaches before.
Okay.
And then in terms of the packets that you're going to be sending out, is that like kind of like what you showed us, just an overview of exercises to go through, or is it going to be literally like 3 days a week you do this sort of exercise, 2 days a week you do this kind, and then there's rest days? Is it prescriptive like that?
Yeah. So it will be like 3 days a week, and it will be on this day you do this, on this day you do this. Yeah, so it'll be specific to what we want you to do.
Okay, great.
Thanks, David.
So my question, Chanel, was in those packets. So at the US Open, I managed to hurt my knee and my ankle, and I'm like 90% back. So could I ask for like specific exercises that I could do to really strengthen those areas, since that's something I'm really cautious about? Or do you think like your packet overall will cover those areas enough that I won't really need to do as much extra?
So in general, the way I tend to create my training programs, it will address all of those things. A lot of the times I'll do, say, sets of 3 exercises, and one of those exercises will probably contribute to a prehab kind of exercise. I also plan on sending out, like I have a list. So for instance, like with the videos we saw today, like thoracic mobility, ankle, knee, and I'll have links for exercises you can do. A lot of the exercises that I would do for kind of mobility and stability and those kind of prehab exercises you could do in addition. But if any athlete needs extra or feels like, even if it's just to make you feel, it will address all of these things. But if you want to do extra, anyone can reach out, and then we can also individualize depending on what people need. And that's one thing with the packet too, is if anyone needs modifications because of an injury, reach out, and then we can also do that.
You also have another question in the chat saying, are packets only for Netball America athletes?
Yes.
But you are a coach, so she can take on clients, right?
Well, if anyone did need workouts, they could reach out to me. I'm happy to help anyone. I love doing this. So if there are any athletes outside of Netball America, like the specific packets we're making are for Netball America. But if anybody in the netball world did need help or want workouts, or I could do that too. So if anyone needs or wants workouts, they can email me. I don't know where my email is, but I can, yeah, it should be somewhere, right?
Yes.
Okay.
It's definitely.
Yeah, so anyone can reach out to me if they need help or want workouts.
Hey Chanel, David from Chicago as well.
Hi.
Hey, back on the wrist stuff. It sounds silly, but I guess one of my most common, like not serious injuries, but it's like finger jars during the games. So I guess strengthening grip and wrists will help with that.
Yeah, so any kind of grip stuff. You can also, I didn't put it on here, but I don't know if you've ever seen like the grip like machines you can buy, and there's like packs on Amazon, and they're just like, you can get the balls. You can also, they have like ones that wrap around your fingers. A lot of the times they have them for like MMA fighters and stuff, just because grip is obviously so important, or mixed martial arts and stuff. But there are like specific things you could do as well, just for like finger strength or just like grip. But any kind of grip exercise in the gym will help. The one that I was showing you with the PVC pipe, things like that will help. But if you were like specifically really wanting to work your like finger strength, I can send you what I'm talking about, but they have specific things just to work your grip and will really help with your finger strength as well. Even if you, just for an example, a quick one, if you put a rubber band like around here and were to just open and close, things like that would help, because that resistance, it would just strengthen your finger muscles.
All right. Okay.
Actually,
Great.
no,
Yeah.
just to add to what you're saying, for those persons who have a ball at home, please ensure that your ball is properly inflated. One of the worst things you could do is try to do drills or stuff with a deflated ball. Those are what's going to easily cause injuries with regards to wrist and fingers.
Yeah, that's interesting, because like I think I was commenting to Brian just a few weeks ago. I was like, I feel like when I lift heavy, my control is better with my hands. And I guess that's kind of related. Like when you lift heavy, you're forced to use your hands and your wrists. Yeah, and like sometimes, just for me, if I'm short on time, I may, and like I want to train for being for netball, I may sacrifice like hypertrophy or like strength for cardio stuff. And yeah, well, just for me to know that, well, there's a trade-off there as well, in terms of like finger and wrist strength.
All right, this is everybody's last opportunity to ask personalized questions to our professional here. Because we've got 3 minutes left before I don't want to take anyone else's evening up. So last opportunity.
I have a question. This is Brian in Chicago again. Yeah, so these are exercises and mobility and all that. Are we going to be given drills as well on top of this?
Yeah, so I'm just handling like the performance side, and then the other coaches have written up like skill stuff to do as well as this. So
okay, gotcha. Cool. Thanks.
All right.
Sorry, I'm going to be that person. Can I have one more thing? It's just very quick. Chanel, I know you mentioned something about we're going to use Strava. Is that also going to be explained in the pack and everything?
Yeah, so I'll have on there like the dates that we have to do the like Strava workouts.
Sweet. Thank you.
Chanel, I also sent you your a direct message about your email address. I don't know if you wanted me to put that in the chat. So, but it's there if you want to copy and paste it in. But if people have more questions, like she said, she's more than happy for anyone to reach out. And you've got some really nice comments of it being really informative. And thank you, Chanel. So with that being said, thank you everyone for attending this evening. And thank you, Chanel, for giving us all your wisdom. I'll give you guys 30 seconds to copy and paste the email address in if you want it. But I'm sure most of you do have it. And yeah, that's everything. So thanks so much, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your evening.
Thank you,
Thank
guys.
you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks, Chanel.